Hello, this is Sri Lakshmi here. Welcome to class 70 of Kerala PSC HSA English. Today there are two topics: language acquisition and language learning, and Stephen Krashen. Both of these topics are from the last module, teaching of English. So let's start with the first topic, language acquisition and language learning. Language acquisition means to acquire a language through perceiving and comprehending it. And we human beings have a special capacity. Our brains are programmed in such a way that it acquires language easily. It is a very natural process. The way a child learns its first language, that is mother tongue, from its parents, relatives, and the surroundings, it is first language acquisition. And when he or she goes to school and learn a new language, that becomes his or her second language, and that is the second language acquisition. So there he or she learns that language. So language learning is an active process in which a language is learned for communication, for education, for the job purpose. So we are learning about a language, its sound system, its structure, its grammar. So it's a deliberate process. So that's the difference between language acquisition and language learning. One is a passive process and very slow. It takes time. And language learning has a sort of duration, and we deliberately or we actively take part in that process. We learn the theories and all the rules related to a language while we learn. Next, we are moving on to our second topic, that is Stephen Krashen. Stephen Krashen is a linguist, educational researcher, and political activist. He is known for introducing various hypotheses related to second language acquisition. And they are acquisition learning hypothesis, the monitor hypothesis, natural order hypothesis, the input hypothesis, the affective filter hypothesis, and the reading hypothesis. So first of all, acquisition learning hypothesis. According to Krashen, there are two ways of developing language ability. Acquisition involves the subconscious acceptance of knowledge, where information is stored in the brain through the use of communication. We use that language. This is a process used for developing native languages. Learning, on the other hand, is the conscious acceptance of the knowledge of language, that is, its grammar or the form. Krashen states that this needs a formal language instruction. So according to this theory, the excellent way a language is learned is through natural communication. The second one is the monitor hypothesis. This hypothesis further explains how acquisition and learning are used. The acquisition system initiates an utterance, and the learned system monitors the utterance to inspect and correct errors. Monitoring helps for accuracy, but sometimes it acts as a barrier as it forces the learner to slow down and focus more on accuracy. So this creates less fluency. Keeping a balance between accuracy and fluency is very difficult. So this balance is known as communicative competency. Krashen's theory is inspired from Locke's theory known as tabula rasa. It states that human minds on birth are like blank slates, and they acquire knowledge through sensory inputs. Next, the third one is natural order hypothesis. According to Krashen, learners acquire parts of speech in a predictable order. For any given language, certain grammatical structures are acquired early, while others are acquired later in the process. This hypothesis suggests that this natural order of acquisition occur independently of deliberate teaching, and therefore teachers cannot change the order of a grammatical teaching sequence. So the teachers should start by introducing concepts that are relatively easier for learners to acquire than introducing difficult concepts. Next is the input hypothesis. This hypothesis suggests that language acquisition occurs when learners receive messages that they can understand a concept, also known as comprehensible input. However, Krashen also suggests that this comprehensible input should be one step beyond the learner's current language ability. Next one is the affective filter hypothesis. According to Stephen Krashen, one obstacle that manifests itself during language acquisition is the affective filter. That is, a screen that is influenced by emotional variables that can prevent learning. This hypothetical filter does not impact acquisition directly, but rather prevents input from reaching the language acquisition part of the brain. According to Krashen, the affective filter can be prompted by many different variables, including anxiety, self confidence, motivation, and stress. So, when the affective filter is high, the individual may experience stress, anxiety, and lack of confidence that may inhibit success in acquiring a second language. On the other hand, a low affective filter facilitates risk taking behavior in regards to practicing and learning a second language. And the last one is the reading hypothesis. This hypothesis basically states that the more we read in a second language, the greater our vocabulary will be. It is important to involve reading in the language classroom to increase knowledge of the language and the way it is used in real life context. So that's all for today. Hope you have liked the class. Thank you.